Hello, and welcome to the End in Mind podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, the owner of Meraki Media Management. The End in Mind is a place where we come to share stories, tips, and strategies of many entrepreneurs, creatives, business owners, and just some people that aren't willing to live the traditional lifestyle. We talk about how to live outside of the box today and how to incorporate what really is important in your life to keep that end goal always in mind. Again, if you would like to reach out to me in any type of way, you can find me on Instagram at Meraki_media_management, and I hope to hear from you all soon. Thanks so much and enjoy our show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the End in Mind podcast. This is part 3 of setting boundaries, our 4-part series on boundary setting as an entrepreneur, but just also as a 30-year-old woman living this life in this wild, wild world, in this wild galaxy, right? So thank you all so much for jumping on this series with me. And today I want to share more about how boundary setting has affected my life long term. And this may also be, we still have one more part to go. So today's episode may run into 2 parts, just knowing that there's just been a long journey, you guys. Like, this has been a really long journey for me. I am still on this journey. Almost every day I find myself like bending my boundaries or breaking my boundaries to support other people and make them feel less uncomfortable. And in return, right, I make myself uncomfortable. And I shared this in part 1, like this can start to build up over time. So when I first started learning about boundaries, as I shared in previous episodes, was in 2020. Every year, I learned more and more about how I wasn't protecting myself as a highly sensitive. I was like leaking energy, right? Like everywhere, almost like I had taken my full cup of water and just poked a bunch of holes in it. Because every time I was people pleasing for other people, I was punching another hole in my cup and leaking out this energetic water all over the floor. No way to be harnessed and used for good, right? So for my end in mind, because good and bad doesn't really resonate here, right? This is all like gray area. So I wasn't harnessing my energy towards what I desired out of life. And if I thought I was, most of the time I was overexerting energy towards that outcome and goal, so much so that I was actually pushing it away, therefore also leaking energy and not harnessing it properly. So what do I mean by all of this? A perfect example is how long I continued to stay working in my business versus like hiring people. So if you're an OG podcast listener to the End in Mind, you probably remember when I first shared a lot of these stories. So in 2020, I had someone working for me. Absolutely loved her. She was interning for me. She was amazing, did amazing work. And then I quickly realized as my company was expanding, right, like the boom of 2020, a lot of you all may have even become entrepreneurs during that year. Mind you, I started my company back in 2019 officially, but I was working with entrepreneurs when I was in college. I graduated college in 2018. When I was stepping out into this new like energetic boundary phase, I didn't realize how much I was going to have to slow down to speed up or like even spend money to become more efficient. And a lot of people over the years have said to me, like, why don't you just fire your team, right? And like do all of the work yourself again and be able to pay yourself that lump sum of money instead of like paying your team. And now that I've done so much work on boundaries and like energetics, I know exactly, I can understand their perspective as an outsider in saying that. And I can hold space for their statement. And at the same time, I know that for me, I would never be able to expand the company the way that I have now if I would have made that choice. Because what happens when you become an agency owner, you could be any type of agency. If you're a solopreneur and you are onboarding clients constantly, there's no way for you to grow, right? Because you're just continuing to hit a ceiling because you can only do so much work. So even during our slow season, we had team members working because I knew that when the busy season would come around, I would need their help. And then I'm just hiring, retraining, right? You have to look at the longevity of the business, the whole calendar cycle, sometimes a 5-year cycle. And you have to be able to project that. If and when I wasn't protecting my boundaries, I would have just listened, right, to this advice, and I would have just fired my team. Don't get me wrong, there was many times when I had amazing people working for me and we simply just had to part ways because it wasn't working for the clients that I was onboarding, right? Or the new offer that we were developing. I needed people with different sets of skills. That's different, but versus just firing a team because you want to pay yourself more money and falling back into these roles that I had to retrain myself to not do, right? And like outsource to my team would have actually hurt my company long term. In the months where it was slow, it was difficult to make that decision. And it was difficult to hear over and over and over again, people giving me this advice, right? Of like firing my team, taking back all the work and being able to pay myself. I held my ground because now this had become a business boundary. I had positioned myself as the CEO. My team handled most of the majority of the work under our agency. I managed the client relationships and oversaw how they were, doing the work or like approving their work, especially if they were newer to the team. And then once they got their footing with it, they're good, right? I do not micromanage another boundary that I had set in my business. And I will tell my team members that, hey, like I'm going to check your work for 3 to 4 months with this new client. Once you feel like you're set and my feedback's coming in clearer, like you can take it, right? And I will let you be the full account manager and I will simply be CC'd on the emails to like know if I need to step in, right? If my team member's traveling, like how can I help? Or my team member gets sick, right? So I had to figure out where the boundaries were and then where the gray area was going to be. Like, I think a lot of business owners just want to set these parameters in their company and then they don't want to be bothered with it. It's not really realistic when you're working with humans, right? Because people are human and anything can happen. So that's another side session on the boundary setting. I am so grateful every single day of my life that I woke up and felt this business boundary for myself, because the only way that I could have expanded to my fractional chief marketing officer role that I've been offering to very minimal amount of clients is because I have my team running my agency. I would have never had the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, the bandwidth to create this offer, let alone entertain clients that have, $7 million in revenue. Like that would have never been able to been achieved if I wasn't present and able to collect myself, right? Like before those meetings and really know about the company before getting on these calls and know what they need, right? Like as an entrepreneur, I need space in my day to be able to brainstorm, think about things, be open to opportunities coming. This is a perfect example. Honestly, one of my favorite features of the fractional CMO offer is that we actually lead generate for clients, which means that I spend a majority amount of my time looking and engaging for partnerships, like through online work or networking, like however starts to work best for that client, because every industry is different. So this isn't like a blanket statement strategy. But even over the weekend, like I choose to just, because I'm on my phone anyway, right? So I'm just like checking my phone, and I saw this opportunity. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be really cool for my client. Instead of feeling like I have to get on my email on a Saturday afternoon, maybe I'm even out to lunch with my girlfriends and they just went to the bathroom and I hop on my phone, right? What I do is I take a screenshot of the post, save it to my photos, go into my calendar, create a to-do list for Monday, write down exactly what it is, mention that I took a screenshot so I don't forget, and put it in a box, right, to deal with it Monday so I can still come back and be present with the people that I'm eating lunch with. This type of boundary setting and strategy work, honestly, to optimize my time, see opportunities at the right time and take advantage of them, schedule out when I should be following up with them if I can't do so right then, or if the boundary is being set that I'm not working that day, then I can continue to have healthy, present relationships while also moving and progressing, right? And finishing on promises that I've created for my clients. So that's just another like very detailed example of how when you tap into your energetic world, you are able to discern what works for you and what doesn't. And if you don't know your human design, that may also really help. Like I've taught marketing and human design classes, as a lot of you know. And with my human design, if I'm frustrated, like I know I'm out of alignment. So if I'm feeling frustrated, I almost always know to like take note of that feeling. And then I will like even talk it out with myself. Like, why was I feeling that way? What happened that day to throw me off? Whatever it may be. And then if it's almost always something, truthfully, that can be fixed or like adapted, because there's solutions to everything, then I will brainstorm on ways that I can do it differently. And that is what has gotten my business as far as it has in these last few months since I've been married, since February. I have created a really like efficient way of working, and I absolutely love it. Like I would not change it for the world. So in part 4, I'm going to talk about the emotional outcome of boundary setting, because I talked a little bit about at the end of this episode, like what it feels like when you're not setting boundaries. And I want to share with you all what it feels like the more that you intuitively set these boundaries, and like what life can actually feel like. Because at the time when I was in the thick of learning about all of this, I didn't even know that a life this good could exist for someone like me. So if that's where you're at, like, please know that you're not alone again. And I am right here to chat in DMs at any time. I also have an amazing set of coaches that I've worked with over the years. A lot of them are also trained in therapy. But they do like personal development and coaching work. So it's nice to have a professional that has both of those skill sets, and they know like when they need to flow into either one of those states. I've also worked with an amazing coach who you guys have heard from a few times on the podcast, Aoife, and she has been so helpful with tuning into my body and like understanding how my body is expressing reactions. So part 4 is coming your way to you all next Wednesday. As always, love you all so much. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to The End in Mind. I would like to remind you all, if you haven't yet reached out to me on Instagram, we are at Meraki_media_management. It will be in our show notes as well. If you would like to reach out to me, we always offer free coaching through Instagram based around our Instagram training and our business Instagram practices. If you need any type of support, please do not hesitate to reach out to me there. And we also offer several different types of consulting and training packages if you're looking for a little bit more in-depth tips. So thank you all for listening in, and of course, I want you all to keep the end in mind as you continue with your day and or work week. Have a great week, and I will see you all next time.